So the sheriff gave me a pretty stern warning last night. It's actually quite concerning. It's starting to get dangerous. Things are just getting out of hand. When we started this YouTube channel, we were nomads. We started meeting people from our subscription list right away. I think the first time I met someone from the subscription list, I probably didn't have 1,000 subscribers. We were at Lake Enid, I think it was, in Mississippi. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but it's a man-made lake. Somebody came by and wanted to meet us, and they gave us, I think it was deer meat. And then I think we met somebody in South Carolina, maybe, another subscriber. Again, not very big channel. Very nice person. And I think for the most part, most of our encounters were pretty pleasant. And then the camper got burned down. We were living in a pop-up camper. Some crazy person, nomad, burned it down. They were upset with the National Forest, and I think they thought we were a campsite host. And so his revenge to us was to the National Forest. And it just seemed like it went downhill from there. We didn't really meet a lot of pleasant people after that. I don't know what changed. I don't know, maybe the videos changed. I know the nomadic videos changed. We went from a very happy lifestyle to a very worried lifestyle. And my videos reflected that. I really tried to start to talk about the downsides of living the nomadic life. And I think people started hating me for that. And it turned pretty bad pretty quick. I mean, there were big YouTubers bashing me. I mean, really big YouTubers bashing me. And of course they have crazy people in their audience that watch, and so that gives them permission basically to do mean things. I remember we met somebody in South Dakota, and he felt like we were e-beggars. He thought we faked the camper burn. So he came up to us and sternly told us that he didn't like our style and that we were lying. Well, then when we got here, it became quite apparent quite quickly that being in one location was really dangerous. We had a guy, not a mean guy, but a guy who found us within a couple weeks of us being here. And he gave us a Sawzall. Now, he just laid it in the back of the truck. Now, Carolyn was walking up the hill, and she saw him. Well, she hightailed it back down to the camper. We were still living in a little truck camper as we were building a tiny house. So I went up there, and by the time I got up there, this guy is driving off. So on the back of the truck is this box with a Sawzall from Harbor Freight and a note. And it details what he identified in my videos, a variety of videos, allowed him to find us. And it was very vague information, like the distance to Dollar General. And I don't know, I don't remember all the little deep clues that he gave us, but it was like, he found us with that? I mean, how many Dollar Generals are there in the world? Quite scary. And we live out here kind of in the boonies. I mean, this probably isn't the most recognizable town area, I should say, on the map. We're kind of away from a vacation area, but again, we're a good distance away from it. It was shocking that anybody would find us. Well, it wasn't long after that, I got an email, and it was quite lengthy. And this guy not only detailed what markers he used to find us in my videos, but explained the hours in which he tried to find us. And now that was just downright terrifying. On his breaks at work, instead of eating lunch, he was on his phone looking at different landmarks and different things that I had said. And he was pretty close. I mean, within a half a mile of where we were. He thought he had us nailed down. It wouldn't have been that much harder to find us. And we've been given threats many times. There was a guy from California who found us, apparently found us, or figured out, I don't know what he did, but he found us, and he called the authorities on us. He called the county code enforcement officer. Now, this is when we were still living in the camper, and he said that we were dumping waste into the little creek here. Now, this is a little dry creek. Unless it rains, there's no water in it. Checked everything out and realized that we were fine. Well, of course, at the time, we were building a tiny house. We had the floor down. And the code enforcement guy was impressed with it being on the trailer frame. He thought that was a good idea. Now, I should rewind a little bit. During this time, this place did not have an address. That's important to understand. How do you find a place that doesn't have an address? The last time this place was addressed was, I think, 1974. And that's when they used to use rural routes. It was rural route whatever. Well, now everything is city streets. And apparently the 911 operators, which is ran by the sheriff department, at least in this area, assigns address. We spent about a year trying to get an address on this place. Well, first of all, people were telling me in the comments section to call the utility company. They would have an address. Of course, the utility company said the last time there was one was 1974, and it was a rural route, and it's not an address anymore. So we finally figured out how to get a hold of an address. Everybody was telling me to go to the post office, but no, not the post office. So we called the 911 people, and they gave us an address. But boy, that was a real chore too. 90% of the time, we are on this property. Well, they were going to send a guy out to see if that we had any construction going on, because that's the only way he could give us an address, is if there was something being constructed or if there was a foundation. Well, I didn't know the difference between a foundation and a trailer pad. What I knew was there was a trailer parked on the property and it had a pad on it, or a foundation. So I told him it was foundation. So he sent a guy out. Well, we weren't here. Well, he checked everything. He checked our well. I mean, you could tell he checked our well. Of course, the well wouldn't run unless we had the generator running. Well, finally, the 911 operator called us back and said he got us an address. Well, then you got to get a mailbox. And that's not exactly easy either, because now you got to register your address with the post office. That took some time. It took us nearly a year to get a mailbox. So finally, the guy who delivers the mail stopped up by, parked his car in front of our house and said, okay, yeah, just put it right here. So we put it right there where he told us to. And I've been pretty proud of that mailbox. I put it in concrete and bought it from the, I don't know, mailbox, you know. Who gets a brand new street address? Of course, the critics on the channel, you don't live off grid if you have an address. What are you going to get mailed to you? Well, that's not my definition of off grid. My definition is not hooked up to utilities, public utilities. Now, I just got into email last night from some brilliant guy. He says, remember, not everybody wants to be hillbillies. So I replied back, well, if you don't want to be a hillbilly, then why are you watching a hillbilly channel? Doesn't seem too smart to me, but these guys, they're actually pretty bright. They're just, I don't know, they're just socially unacceptable is what they are. And they do, they spend all their waking hours looking for people. Now, I know people will blame the young generation. I know for a fact it's not the young generation. I know for a fact 3 people, they're exact 4 people. And approximately their age, they're well above in their 50s, and 3 of them are retired, who have taken the time to find me. So the next time I got turned in, I believe it was with the house. It was with us building the house. But this guy was from Tennessee. And my sheriff got involved this time. The sheriff got involved and he said, he was going to find that guy, and they found him. They found him and they arrested him. I found that absolutely insane that they would do that. I just figured, they'd just let it go, but he chased it down. And so now, anytime I get concerning emails, I forward those emails to the sheriff because he told me to. And the sheriff always replies and says, please inform this person that you have informed me, the sheriff, about this email, and that I've told you, me, that these emails are harassing and they're against federal and state laws. And usually that ends the email problem. Now, a lot of people will tell me block them and block their emails and all that. Well, you don't understand how desperate these people are at harassing you. On YouTube, you can create hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of accounts. And so you block them, they just go to their next account. And they subscribe all these accounts, and then they unsubscribe all these accounts, and they subscribe all these. It is mind-boggling. I know there's been one guy who's been subscribing and unsubscribing for 3 years, maybe 4 years straight. Every day he unsubscribes a bunch, and then when my channel starts to pick up pace, because you know we go through these highs and lows on YouTube, you can tell that I'm starting to gain subscribers. Well, then he starts adding on his accounts, and he subscribes and subscribes. Even if he's blocked, it doesn't make him any difference because he can still subscribe and watch. And then when my channel starts to decline, he starts unsubscribing these accounts. And he does it very consistently 2 or 4 times each time. So you get up at about 6 o'clock in the morning and he unsubscribes about 2, and then again at 7, and then again at, at 3 o'clock, and then again at 6 o'clock, and then again at 9, 7 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. It must be a real pathetic life, but his patheticness is a real problem. I don't understand this mentality. I've tried to understand it. I've watched psychiatrists on YouTube explain it, and I don't even think they understand it. I mean, these people can be socially acceptable people in real life, like an old lady who goes to church and community events and donates money, and she'll get online and just be an absolute hateful person. When I was a nomad, after the camper burned, there was another guy who was making videos about me, telling me how stupid I was and terrible person, and he was really just trying to destroy my channel, trying to build his. You know, that's how these guys are. You know, they're so brilliant. They try to destroy a channel and build theirs at the same time, but then you wonder, wait a minute, once my channel is destroyed, what happens to your channel? You have no content then. And then I get this email not that long ago, maybe a year ago, year and a half ago. He says, I was on vacation and I looked you up, found out where you lived, and he told me exactly where I lived. Now this guy I know hates me, pretty much identified it in his videos. He can't stand me, yet he looked me up. So I mean, now it's starting to get closer to home. It's starting to get a little bit worse, and they're actually showing up. So he said, I didn't think you would like me knocking on your door, so I didn't. Well, no, I don't want you knocking on my door. I don't even want nice people knocking on my door. Why would I want you knocking on my door? So Carolyn and I have tried very hard to be brave. I mean, YouTube is a dangerous job. There are people out there who are just mercilessly attacked and stalked and children harassed. I mean, I just got an email from a guy last night, said, I don't know, maybe his niece or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, her father was an actor, and they would even harass her. Now, she was a grown adult, not really associated with her father, something like that. I mean, the difference is, in my thinking, is these famous people have the money for security, but YouTubers don't. I mean, a guy like me, I don't have. But these people are vicious. They don't stop. You know, people say, well, if you ignore a troll, they'll go away. No, they get mad. And then if you respond to them, they get mad. If you don't respond to them, they get mad. And just everything. They hate so much. And now, if you really get into the dirty of YouTube, you can find in these YouTube channels, they hate everybody. It's not just they hate me. They hate YouTubers in general. Well, one time I was watching a YouTube guy, and he was talking about this woman, this YouTuber, who had found a relationship. She was happy. She just found this relationship. And so you read the comment section, and you would think somebody would say, well, that's great. She found happiness. You know, she's been miserable for years or whatever, and now she's found happiness. No, there was not one person in there that spoke kindly of this new guy. Oh, that guy's going to be a loser. Oh, no, he's already got kids. Oh, this is terrible. I mean, they were just bashing him to no end, and nobody knows him. I mean, think about this. A YouTuber made a video of a YouTuber who found someone. What kind of information is there on this guy? I'm not even sure anybody knew the guy's name. But he was just a lowlife, just an absolute lowlife. And they just taunted and terrorized this woman. And so they just hate everything. There is nothing good they have. They will do whatever it takes to get you off YouTube. Not sure why. They don't want you on YouTube. I mean, you get emails all the time. I mean, just yesterday I was told, stop making off-grid videos. That's what my channel is. Little house off-grid. What else am I supposed to do? Cooking? So I'm just supposed to do, you know, content that he wants. Not everybody wants to be a hillbilly, so stop making hillbilly videos. Well, then why are you watching hillbilly videos? Go watch non-hillbilly videos. Genius! Yesterday, we had some vandalism here. As I was telling you, we just got this new mailbox a couple years ago, and I was really excited about it. Well, just a few days ago, I guess a few weeks ago, a gal ran off the road. I showed you that video, and she hit our mailbox, nearly hit our truck, drove all the way down the ditch, and she was probably 16, 17 years old. Well, it was no big deal. Everybody told me I needed a sewer to get a new mailbox. Well, it wasn't. I just straightened it all up. She didn't break it off, the pole. It just bent over. So I straightened up the pole, attached the mailbox back on, and it kind of crooked, but it worked, and I was still proud of my mailbox. Well, last night, I hear this noise outside. I'm just sitting at the computer. It's probably 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock. I was just getting ready to go to bed, as a matter of fact, so it must have been about 9 o'clock. I was trying to find Skitty. That's what it was. Trying to get her in the house. And I hear this noise, and I go outside. What is that? And the mailbox is laying on the driveway, and the pole is bent over. Somebody hit it with a baseball bat. So they drive back up the hill, and they say something out the window, but we can't hear them. It was dark, so it's not like I could really respond to what was going on. I'm still trying to figure out why my mailbox is laying on the ground. Their license plate was out of state. We called the sheriff, of course, and he says, you need to think about getting off YouTube. I said, but that's my job. I mean, it'd be like me telling you to stop being a sheriff. It's a dangerous job. Your job as a sheriff is a dangerous job. My job as a YouTuber is a dangerous job. I mean, I don't know how to not do my job. Well, I have no intentions of stopping it. I am not going to be victim blamed. And that's what this is. I'm on YouTube, so therefore it's my fault that this bad things are happening. No, these people are criminals. And I will get every one of them. One way or another, if they harass me, I will get them. I'll find this person. They'll be back. They won't be able to stand it. They will have to do something again. Because they didn't scare me enough to get off YouTube, they will try it again. So in the comment section this morning, I got a comment from somebody, you know, Y2K 1896, you know, whatever. They never use their real name, of course, and so you know it's a troll immediately. And they said, you'll get off YouTube if you don't want what happened to your mailbox happen to you next. So I sent that off to the sheriff. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that one. That's on YouTube platform. So he can't do anything about the YouTube platform. He can do it with the email. So if you'll click this up next box, takes you to a video where I was talking about solar panels. So if I can inspire you to stay tough when people are trying to hurt you. Thanks for watching.